This week, license plates, the SoCal Fires, NFL and college playoffs, recommendations of the week, Lululemon or 7-Eleven. Enjoy this episode.
We're ripping all the one-star recruits guests left in the playoffs this week. The NFL playoffs on 500level.com. Our guy Austin Eckler with a big third down conversion to put the commies in field goal range. Mark Andrews about to upset Buffalo. Jaden Daniels, a.k.a. God. Mystery shirts for $10 on 500level.com. Use the discount code DK and RIP at checkout for 20% off everything on the site. DKANDRIP. 500level.com. Let's go.
Yoho, aloha, 181 pounds. Got to slow down on the sandwich eating, the pastry intake, and the overall carb intake so far, Rip. The beginning of the year has been a nice start for me. Mentally, physically, not so much. I'm doing way too many intakes of bread and pastries. Listeners know, my bio has read on X now for 14 years. A lover of all things bread. It's still by far my favorite food. Can't really get enough of fresh bread. Donuts, something that I realized as I've moved here has been a major thing in the last 5 years of living in the islands that I had no access to. Every once in a while, I might have got a mochi donut or something, but to get myself a maple glazed or a twist or just a normal donut has been unbelievably heavenly for me, but scary, Rip. So, dude, easy 7 pounds gained since I've arrived here in Portland. And I think most of that is due to carb intake. Just this weekend, I ate a full baguette to myself with butter. I got to slow down, man. What donut you get in when you go into the donut shop, Rip? What's your number one draft picked donut every time?
It's always apple fritter for me. I don't know if they're any better in Portland, but we got some really good ones down here in Southern California. And so you gained 7 pounds of basically donut and sourdough and Dutch Crunch. Are you talking voodoo donuts or just like regular run of the mill like Chinese donut shops?
It's the Cantonese donut shops, Rip. It's the normal one. The Voodoo Donuts, big overrated spot. You think of any place in your hometown, San Francisco, Fisherman's Wharf, down in LA, going to like maybe the Man's Chinese Theater, Rip. Overrated. It's a tourist spot. In fact, a new analysis of millions of Google reviews, Rip, found that Portland's Voodoo Donuts, actually the most overrated tourist attraction in the world. In the world. That's per USA Today. They analyzed more than 23 million Google reviews, and it became the most overrated place via AI. I'm using AI right now, Rip, to give you the answer on this. So the truth is the best donut shops are the ones in the suburbs, in the strip malls. Sesame Donuts is the place if you want the real donut, the real good shit. But, dude, I got to be careful. This is my problem when I go to new food cities, especially when there's access to a lot of breads. Put on weight. I put it on. I got to go back to my protein. Got to find chicken and rice. Got to get to Costco. I got to get this health on track. Otherwise, I'm going to be 200 before you know it. Back to 200.
You and I are always on polar opposites. When you got in the best shape of your life in Hawaii over the past couple of years, I was a little chunky. I was like close to 180, which is huge for me. But now I got to tell you, I've had this quiet New Year's resolution of taking 10,000 steps a day. Check the health app on your iPhone. And it hasn't been easy. I'm outing it right now on One Star Recruits, but I've hit it. We're now January 13th. I've hit it every single day. Sometimes it requires a late night dog walk or walk in circles in my backyard. But I've gotten there every day. I'm committed, and I haven't had a donut this entire year, DK.
It'll do it, bro. Simple science. Intake and outtake. Just get more calories burned than you're putting in. That's the key to success. And then try those calories when you do put them in. Make sure they're worth it. That's it. Nothing that we would hang in the rafters. No Cheez-Its, no ice cream that doesn't actually melt. Lots of stuff's up in the rafters from the last couple years. What can you do? I'm proud of you though, Rip. 10,000 steps is a benchmark of health in our age that I think if you can make it happen in our busy lives, it's a small benchmark and you can only go up from there. Happy New Year, Rip. Proud of you, bro. Proud of you. Dude, big moment in my new Oregon life has hit. Always an exciting time. I broke down the math now, Rip. I've lived in 22 cities in my 43 years of life. That's 22 different places for at least 1 year or more. 22. So that means I'm moving every 1.8 years. That makes sense to you? We've been friends that long, almost my whole life. That makes sense, right?
The only thing that makes me think of it is Will Clark, number 22. Emmett Smith, 22. Keep going. I got sidetracked for a second.
22 spots that I've lived in my life. So I'm moving about 1.8 years. Exciting times. You find new places to eat, like I'm doing right now. New energy. Things are exciting again. You kind of try to find your routine. Your BMs in the morning are probably a little bit messed up because your body's adjusting to all the new stuff when you move to new areas. Normal stuff. Exciting time though is when the new license plates for the car comes. May sound stupid, Rip. May sound stupid, but every time it happens, I'm telling you, I'm as excited as an 8-year-old at Christmas to get the package, open up some fresh new license plates. Got 2 of them this morning. Oregon plates. They got the tree in the middle. Kind of cool license plates, to be honest. And got to go put them on. The newer cars, the new RAV4, just didn't even need a tool, Rip. I could do it with my fingers. Peel it off, plug it back on, feel like a local. I'm really here. While I'm doing it, though, while I'm putting these license plates on, I'm thinking to myself, this is the stupidest shit ever. This license plate game, which I think they make inside of prisons, if I remember right. Winston, look up how license plates are made, if that's still a thing. So silly and stupid that we're using these things that they send and you got to put on your own. Now people are stealing them, Rip, to go do crimes. So they'll steal them and put them on another car, do a crime, and then take them off. Just, they're like the horses. It's like if we're riding horses still, but they're license plate. Do you get what I'm saying, Rip? AI is going to take this over. My point of this whole thing is that I'm very excited to get license plates. Very cool. But I'm also very sad because here's what's going to happen. We might be in the last 2 years of ever tangible license plates. They're going away. AI will take this over. Here's what will happen, Rip. You go ahead and register your car. You click on the app. You pay your money. Put your VIN number in or whatever. And then on the cars, they will no longer have the space to hang anything. It'll just be a screen. It will be like the advertising screens courtside at the basketball game. You know what I mean? High pixelated. And it will just update your information there with your registration. No more stickers. No more jailhouse workers. No more stuff. License plate game. It's going to end. That's my take. That's what this people might be tuning into this podcast to hear about Jello Ball because he was a guest. I think you're naming all of our episodes something ball centric at this point in time, Rip. People are turning in to probably hear about hitting that corner. Instead, they're hearing about license plates, good, bad, and ugly. Where do you stand 1 to 5 stars on license plates, Rip?
I haven't spent more than 30 seconds thinking about a license plate in my entire life. And it was very sad to see you go from on cloud 9 to getting your license plate to that big depressing take on how we're never going to even see license plates again.
Do you agree? They're a bit silly. They're a bit silly. It's a lot of work for something that can be done electronically via AI.
It does feel a bit silly now that we're in 2025. Everything's computerized. People have been stealing those things for decades, by the way. It's not a new thing, switching license plate. I think I probably switched our license plates back in high school in the 90s without you even knowing. My Saturn license plate was on your station wagon and vice versa. But yeah, it's been going on for years. Enough license plate talk. Can we talk more about Tweaker?
Yo, you want to move to Tweaker? Do you put a outline around your license plate? Will you put the dealership that you got the car at, for example, around it? Or are you anti that?
Harvard Law School, $5.99 for Harvard Law School outline on eBay. Make you look smart.
To make you look smart, you can maybe put a local police on there to make you look. Maybe you don't get a ticket. Some people don't like it though. A lot of people like myself don't put screws on the bottom. There's 4 screws on that thing. I've only been a top screwer my whole life. You know, I'm still on license plate, Rip. I'm not giving it up at this point in time. This may be the worst podcast intro of my entire career here podcasting, Rip, but I feel like this might be the beginning of a new business, Entity One Stars. If you want to come at me, we can figure out this problem together. Let's take license plates into 2025. Let's take the Ball brothers into 2025. We got Jello now has signed a $13 million deal, probably because he showed up on our podcast 2 years ago. A lot of people looking at the archives now, Rip, that he's a famous rapper. You think this is going to last? There's no chance this is a Post Malone situation. This is going to be a one and done, one hit wonder thing.
We've gotten so many emails and texts from people really across the globe, DK. We listens in Sweden, Ireland, Lithuania, everywhere this week. People wondering if we're actually Jello Ball's music agent, which I kind of want to play along with, but the guy's blown up. I'm happy for him because we mentioned last week Cooper Manning, the third Manning brother that nobody really knows about. That was Jello until a week ago. Now he's more famous than either brother. It's amazing.
Def Jam deal, 13 million, 8 million guarantee. So there you go, LeVar. You got all your kids.
We should get 5%. Can we get 5%, Jello?
Not getting that from LeVar, man. LeVar's going to keep it all, but he's got it. He did it. All three of his sons. He's out there in Chino Hills having a good time, probably eating at that Jersey Mike's over there by the Mercado in Chino Hills, LeVar. Well done.
I'm curious because baseball season is coming up here. We won't talk much about it this episode, but we're right around the corner. Do you think anyone's walk-up song in MLB this year is going to be Tweaker? It might happen.
Rip, probably for a short stinted rookie who will be out of the league soon if they do that. This song's not going to last past next week. By the time January 20th hits and we do the inauguration thing, this song will be as in the past as the title of that last podcast that we did. Mark my words. Doesn't have the legs. It's just the internet doing its thing. This is the internet tricking you, Rip. Don't get tricked. But at the same time, we can be grateful for people when they have some success, especially friends of the podcast like Jello. Shout out Jello. Come on back on.
I'm thinking there's a fourth Ball brother out there that plays for the Oklahoma City Comets, AAA over in Oklahoma City that's going to have that walkout song. It's probably going to get resurrected in a couple months.
Yeah, there is a half brother. There's a half brother. Rip, you haven't heard of D?
That feels like a bad joke.
That was my bad ball joke that was going to D-nuts you. I didn't, though, Rip. I didn't. Fire news in SoCal, man. It's real. It's going on. We wanted to keep this a little lighter because it's been a week now, and the fire stuff is very heavy. This is very heavy happening in Pacific Palisades and Malibu, and now going south. The winds are picking up a little bit. I wanted to touch on it quickly, Rip, just from my experience, because I did live through the Lahaina fires in 2023. We're going on 14 months now since I lost my house in a fire, and in fact, lost the entire city. And I don't want to go into all the details and sad stuff, but I did want to throw out just a couple quick recs for people who may have family or friends affected by the fires directly. It's wild talking to people in SoCal. It's 8, 10, 15 people, friends of friends, colleagues. I mean, just you, Rip. How many folks are affected? A handful in your life?
It's a lot of people. And yeah, I appreciate even all the listeners and listeners of One Star Recruits and former guests who have reached out this week checking on me because I'm down here. I'm unfortunately about an hour away from most of these fires, but it's real. We've seen entire city streets, entire neighborhoods kind of go down and remind me a lot of your experience in Lahaina. So very sad to see. It's going to be a long recovery and rebuild just like they have out there in Hawaii. But I'm glad to see all the support from really everywhere, professional sports, entertainment, regular people on GoFundMe. It's been everywhere, DK.
The speeds of the winds are what are crazy, and they're going to pick up again to the 80s, all the way up to 130 they were last week in Southern California. In Maui, they were 80 on the day that city was devastated by the fires. But just a couple of things that you can do to help out, now that I've been away from it and what happens in these immediate weeks after for people affected. The biggest thing is that life gets thrown off so much that you just want to get back to a couple of things of normal. And normal in this world is toothbrush, underwear, undershirts, maybe some shoes, and then your most patient best friends to maybe sit down and help with the paperwork. All the next steps of where do I sign up for FEMA? What does this? How do I get my 700? Where does this connect to this? And just having a kind of a group that can help with that. So if you have people affected, it's not money right now, although that is helpful, and that will be more helpful as things kind of proceed, because People got to do housing and people got to get food and all that stuff. But in the short term, if you wanted to do a care package or drop off a little something, those immediate day-to-day stuff would be my recommendations for those folks. They're going through a lot in the next month for all those people who lost their homes and stuff and loved ones even. They're going to be meeting with insurance people. They're going to be going over losses. They're going to be able to trying to track back what's in their house. Did they have pictures, videos, photos? It's a lot of shit in 2 weeks while your head's scrambled. So my light recommendation is to understand what people are going through and to try to plug into that stuff a little bit to just take things off the list right now to help. So it's real. Listeners, anybody affected, they ever want to buzz us, I'm always happy to help in listening or talking about post fire stuff. What's happened with my place in Lahaina now that we're 12 months later? What did I wish I would have done that I didn't do in those 3 months afterwards? All that stuff I'm okay to talk about, but I'm not going to do it on the podcast, Rip. I just want to know any listeners who are out there, DM us. I'll get back to you and we can talk things through because your life just changed incredibly dramatically. And it's real and it's hard, Rip. Blessings. NFL playoffs, no transition, but we're going to transition. Stars of the weekend, man. For me, first number one star, ex-Arizona Cardinal, Zane Gonzalez. OCD took the spotlight, Rip. OCD. What were you thinking when you saw Zane Gonzalez walk up to hit the game-winning field goal, which I thought was going to be a double doink? It was only a single doink for the win. Trying to put his helmet on. What were you thinking?
They had a shot of Baker Mayfield with his head down and Zane Gonzalez walking out right after that. And it was super short field goal. I think it was, 30 yards. And yeah, all I could think was, man, if he misses this thing and then just the doink and for it to go in. And then it just, the thoughts changed to, Jesus, this Commanders team is destined to, can they maybe beat the Lions in Detroit this week? So it was pretty epic. Crazy to see Jaden Daniels and Zane Gonzalez, both former Arizona State guys, have that level of success this year. So yeah, pretty cool. The OCD, I mean, whatever works for him. We all have a little bit of it, but yeah, for that to take the spotlight was pretty awesome.
It's a real thing, and the OCD is a real thing. I've had a couple of people in my work life and my career who I've worked with who had some OCD stuff, and it takes a while to get used to. But Big Zane, if you keep knocking down field goals like that, even though they're double doinks, that was a scary kick, Rip. That you just got to push that thing through, Big Zane. Stop playing the draw. Stop trying to set yourself up for a nice putt. That was very risky. But all in on our Washington Commanders still, Rip. This is a team. It's not a team of destiny, but this is a team example of rebuilding a franchise in sports. Listen back 3 episodes. I did a whole breakdown on the Redskins. The journey continues, just the way that the book was written so far. And if they can get big kicks from Zane Gonzalez, the OCD master, let it go, Zane. I'm all about ex-Cardinals getting big dubs in the playoffs. So most exciting thing in the playoff was that kick for me. Patriots made the biggest move in coaching, Rip. We talked about it last week. They got their guy, Mike Vrabel. We knew it was coming. It was an easy hire for Patriots ownership for Robert Kraft. Now the heavy lifting is going to begin. Next big questions here for the Patriots. Is he going to come in? Is he going to do it the Patriot way, Rip, or is he going to do it the Mike Vrabel way? Got to be the right hire, though. Any hot take here from you on the Vrabel hiring, or this all lines up just as it should?
The only hot take from me is whenever I see these teams trying to relive those glory years by doing something like this, it never works out. So my hot take is they should have just kept Gerard Mayo, man. I don't see much difference, to be honest. Like it can be a lot of excitement up there right now because Vrabel was more of an outgoing guy and a fan favorite, but they got a lot of work to do, man. I mean, Drake May looks pretty good, but that entire roster outside of him is not good. So if they're going to rebuild, it's going to be a few years, and Vrabel might not even be around to see that at this point.
I think it's his energy. It's an energy thing. You mentioned it right there before. What's different than him and Mayo? Energy, commitment, and I think accountability. Really, to be honest with you, I think Vrabel's a guy who's, what do they call, like a red ass? Like you don't want him up in your business type human being. Then he's going to be in everybody's business there till they figure it out. Keep an eye open for Tyreek Hill to the Patriots. It seems like a landing spot that I could see him finding himself on, especially if Vrabel keeps hyping up the Patriot way up there. Your boy Jim Harbaugh, Rip, just can't escape the curse of the Chargers. What are they? They're just chargering. They did it again. They do this every year, the Chargers. You know, Herbert looks so good in the regular season. And then we get here and we get the 4 interceptions. We get the defense not showing up. Harbaugh, could we have escaped this, Rip? Is this destiny with the Chargers year after year after year? This is how it's just going to be.
It's not. I think it was still a successful season. Harbaugh went in there and changed the culture. Like you said, the energy, the attitude that those guys have. Herbert for sure had a bad game, but this is just year one. I expect big, huge things in year two from that team, DK.
So not a Justin Herbert problem, Rip. You wouldn't put it up there as a Herbert problem.
I think it's a Texans defense problem. Those guys are legit. Derek Stingley, that cornerback. I mean, they might make some noise up in Kansas City. This week. That defense is legit. D'Amico Ryans, no one's talking about him. D'Amico Ryans is a great coach.
It's a great point, Rip. And if you actually look back on some of the better quarterbacks that the Texans defense has faced, they've had very good games against Josh Allen and against the Lions, I believe. I need Winston, pull up those stats for me. We'll look at it later, but you're exactly right. You're exactly right, Rip. Something might be brewing down there in Houston on the defensive side of the ball, but it's going to be so hard without Tank Dell and some of those injuries at wide receiver. But holy shit, Nico Collins. Holy shit, Nico Collins, huh? Going to find his way up that fantasy football draft board next year. Top 5 pick, Mr. Nico. Working your way up there. I like what I see. I hated what I saw from the Pittsburgh Steelers. I was so up and down on them this year. That defense that I thought was going to be great in Pittsburgh, usually great, ended up being just a half-ass defense with, once you get by 1 or 2 players on that team, do what you want on that defense. Finally, Mike Tomlin's existence is being questioned. I think it caught up with Mike Tomlin with the Russell Wilson quarterbacking. It's 2 personalities that I think are, I don't want to say fake, Rip. I just don't believe it year after year after year. It seems like a mask is being worn, and we just want real human beings in the Pittsburgh Steelers locker room at this stage. It's clean it out. Everybody's trying to figure it out, and there's no solution except for starting over. This is a great example, Rip, of a football team who has continuously been in the middle. A little bit of the higher echelon of the middle, but in the middle. And it's time now to let Tomlin move on. Enjoy Miami. That's what he'll be coaching next. Miami Dolphins head coach Mike Tomlin. And blow this thing up just a little bit to restart. And I don't think the answer is to go to a guy like Deion Sanders, who's going to get you away from the Steelers' way of football. I think you stick with the type of a guy who's got you there for the last 50 years. Deion, maybe Cowboys, because it all makes sense. And you can play that role in Dallas. I don't think the Yinzers will let you do that shit in Pittsburgh as much, Rip. Do you got an idea of the Pittsburgh Steelers coaching direction? You want a guy like Deion, or do you want to bring in a guy like Ron Rivera, Rip?
Do you need me to say Bill Cowher's name anymore on this podcast?
No, stop saying that. You said that last week too. He's 80 years old, Rip.
67 is the new 80, DK. Bill Cowher is a young 67. I'm not serious about that, but I don't know who the next coach is going to be, but I do agree that it's time for Tomlin to go. The Steelers change coaches once every 20 to 25 years. Some of these numbers are crazy. That guy hasn't won a playoff game in 8 years, has not won a Super Bowl in 16 years. Yeah. You remember that Super Bowl? That one should even be questioned because of Santonio Holmes' feet, by the way, but
facts.
Has not won a Super Bowl in 16 years. I agree. It's time for a change.
It's time. Why not look at Hines Ward, Arizona State? Why not look at Jason Witten? Seem like those guys have the essence of the Steelers maybe in them, but that will be an interesting one. But it's time. The moral of the story is it's time. Rip agrees with me. I agree. Pittsburgh, it's been fun while it lasted, but your time has come. Enjoy being shitty for a couple years. Denver Broncos, I'm not going to knock them, Rip, because I'm surprised that they were there. I couldn't believe they even got 7 on the board. It was 7-0. It was fun for a second. Their future looks pretty good there with Bo Nix. I think we'll slide right over the Broncos right now. Congratulations on even being in the playoffs. I don't think you should have even sniffed it, and y'all should be happy that you were there. Green Bay Packers. I want to talk about it though, because Jordan Love looked like hot shit. Hot shit. I don't know if he was injured. Dan Quinn, that Philadelphia defense was buzzing, and they made a lot. Look, some receivers were hurt. They made Jordan Love look like Herbert. Herbert and Love were equal playoff crappiness going on in these games. Now, I don't think it's a move on from Jordan Love situation here, but there's something going on in Green Bay that needs to be looked at a little bit closer. I mentioned Tyreek Hill as a Patriot, maybe Tyreek Hill as a Packer. The Packers are one spark away from everything changing there, and I don't know who that is. I love Jordan Love. I think it's going to come out in the next couple of days that he was injured in this game. He missed a lot of passes that he should have made. Green Bay, you're in good hands. Saquon made some late game decisions that affected bettors a little bit, but the Eagles are moving quickly. Sirianni, guess what? Everybody stopped talking shit about Sirianni last 5-6 weeks. The offense didn't look great, but that defense looked good. Rip, I think Philly and the Lions are on a collision course here. Philly might have the Mo going. We love Mo. Nobody loves Mo more than the one stars. Is Jalen Hurts going to kick this thing into gear? Do the Eagles have the juice to make another Super Bowl run?
I think they do. If Detroit beats Washington and that NFC Championship is in Detroit, that's going to be their toughest matchup. And this week's game will be interesting because it's hard to go against momentum and a team kind of playing for something more like the Los Angeles Rams are with these wildfires. But like you said, that Philadelphia defense looked amazing. It's particularly in the secondary. We got Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. I'm looking forward to watching that matchup.
College football playoffs final is locked in here. And you know what, bro? If I was in a coma in August last year and I just woke up and somebody said it's Notre Dame versus Ohio State in the finals, I would not be shocked at all. Would you? Would you, Rip?
Two of the most storied college football programs in the history of college football. We know that Ohio State roster gets paid $20 million in NIL. How could you argue against that?
It's going on. You can really thank the NIL for a lot of this championship-worthy roster stuff going on. Both the Fighting Irish and the Buckeyes have veteran transfer quarterbacks, Riley Leonard and Will Howard, respectively, who both are making millions off the field through their collective and through other brand deals. I have an update on that, though. I want to talk about that a little bit. I was interested when I saw Carson Beck, the Georgia quarterback, announce his decision to transfer to Miami instead of going to the NFL, which is probably a good move for him. This guy has classic Josh Rosen written all over him, or third string backup. He's dating one of the Cavanier twins, which is one of the hot basketball playing twins who go to Miami. So his girlfriend also goes to University of Miami, but it's big money being shelled out. He's going to secure close to $10 million in NIL deals over just this year. So already a multimillionaire. Go hang out for one more year down in Miami with your girlfriend after your NFL stock has dropped, and make way more money in Miami than you would have ever made as a rookie in the NFL. So hand clap for Carson. If you listened, listeners, to our athletic director episodes about a year ago now, Rip, 8 months, a year ago, we had tons of SEC athletic directors on, and we wanted to learn more about NIL, what's going on. Quick update, the House versus the NCAA settlement, which they've came to an agreement. We talked about this lawsuit, Rip, that was going on. Here's how I understand it. Tell me if this sounds right to you or if this is not even correct. This could be a one-star take. I don't know. The settlement, though, will pay athletes up to $22 million annually. So total across all sports programs through revenue sharing. Athletes will still be able to make additional money from NIL deals. So the schools could choose to keep working with a collective to help facilitate these funds beyond that $22 million sum, but players will be able to get paid directly by their schools. So that wasn't happening before. The players were getting paid by these weird collectives. Some schools weren't. So now they have $22 million annual sum, and players will be able to get that money from their school and then go seek additional sponsorship deals from private companies. So the number's been set, $22 million, and it has to be shared across all sports and has to be revenue sharing. How they got this number, I'm not sure, but it sounds like it's okay. Colorado's pulled out of their collective. You're seeing a lot of these big schools pull out of their collectives right now because that doesn't make any sense anymore if the school is going to be paying these bills. Do you understand this, Rip? Am I explaining this correctly? How this settlement's working out, how they're trying to lay some structure to this NIL stuff?
It sounds like it might all be kind of coming together a little bit. It was Wild West for the past couple of years, and you can go back to those AD episodes, like you said. We had so much talk about NIL and the structure and how this thing's going to shake out, but it might be time to have some other ADs on, DK, calling all the Jack Swarbricks out there, the Scott Woodwards at LSU. Come on, one-star recruits. Let's talk about NIL updates. Hunter Yurachek, our guy at the forefront of the NIL movement. We need you back on, Hunter. We need to get this stuff sorted out for the one-star listeners.
Listeners, the quarterbacks, these guys need to make decisions. The Texas quarterback, Quinn Ewers, he still has 1 year of eligibility remaining. That's equal to, if I do the math, roughly like $6 million in the transfer portal. He could go to a lovely city that he wants. He said he doesn't expect to play college football next season. He wants to go to the NFL. So that $6 million in that rookie NFL quarterback money is pretty equal at this stage. So things are changing. We're starting to see some more foundations kind of laid, things being these players making decisions about their future based on making money in college now. This is all brand new stuff. Parents like you, Rip, need to stay tuned to this stuff. If you have athletes who are going to college, or if you have children who are athletic and fighting for what used to be scholarships, now there's going to be looking for scholarships as well as life-changing money. Rip, kids your age, the 5 to 12-year-olds at this point in time, can really, the athletics game has changed. It's opened up a lot more to actually make money and get paid. So stay tuned. It's a wild world out there. Kids are making money. These coaches are making money. Money's to be had. The question is, when are you going to get in and get some of that money on your own here, Rip? One Star is going to do it. Maybe podcasting. Maybe our kids. Who knows? We're gonna figure a way to get some of this money out of this system in the future here. One Star moments of the week. We all have them. We don't all talk about them, Rip. What do you got? What's your 1 star moment this week?
It was just happened at 4:45 a.m. this morning, DK. If you can guess what that is, I was the victim of a crime. Caught a perpetrator on my Ring camera in the front seat of our Kia Forte with a flashlight. It's happening all over the place, no matter where you live. I don't know if the door was left unlocked or what, no matter what, but the guy got away with a $10 Einstein's gift card, DK, that was in the glove compartment. That's all he took. I had a brand new pickleball set that my wife got me for Christmas in the trunk. I don't even think the guy could figure out how to open the trunk. So not a pickleball fan, these guys, but yeah, just 1 star moment of the week. $10 Einstein gift card missing.
That's a W. Those mofos usually looking for change to get their next meth or crack or fetty hit. Usually looking for that loose change, and Einstein's gift card's a W. I'll get a cinnamon raisin extra toasted cream cheese at Einstein's all day long. Still a classic. The best orange juice around, Einstein's bagels. People don't know that.
You're going to be up to 190 soon.
It's carbs. I told you I got issues. I got some major issues, man. It's crazy. 1 star moment for me. Rip, I'm sorry about that. You got some that LA crime on your street. You got about once a week there's some crime going on your street. Luckily, it's small stuff though. This is all normal stuff. I once had a person like that go through our car. I woke up the next morning. They left just a series of technology from 2006 to 2009 on the ground by the car. They only want some change, bro. They lock your doors.
Probably farting in the car too is what they get off on.
Oh, that'd be the worst. A fart. Maybe somebody relieves themselves differently in your car and you got to go back in. That would be the worst. Sweet Lord. Lock your cars. Put the club on your car. Remember the club?
I still got one in the garage, baby. Put
that shit on. Keep people away from there, man. Club up. 1 star moment of the week for me. It's pretty embarrassing for me to talk about this. I don't care though. I baby my dogs and it's embarrassing. And the only time that it has to fully be exposed is when somebody else is taking care of them. As you know, dogs have been with my in-laws now for 60 days down in Discovery Bay as we're getting settled here in Portland. I don't have it in me to tell my in-laws and my mother-in-law in particular exactly how to take care of the dogs because they're doing a great job. The dogs love it there. They're spoiled rotten. It's just a very different lifestyle. And the dogs know it there. It's probably like kids go to their grandparents' houses. It's different. And they're great. Dogs are happy. In-laws are happy. I get daily pictures. It's wonderful. And I have them already 100% outside of their comfort zone with the dogs. For example, dogs being allowed anywhere they want in the house, on the beds, on the couches. This is not allowed in their house normally, but because our dogs are, they're cool with it. So all good. But what I've had to swallow recently is getting pictures, noticing things like heavy crust in the eyes. Okay. Here's my thing. I've taken a couple shots back. Hey, mother-in-law, do you mind wiping her eyes with Rip? I already have them making dog food for them. They're making the dog food that I make for them every week. Okay. It's too much to ask. So my one-star moment is just being able to let my spoiled dogs adjust and be dogs. And I'm one star for continuing to ask my sweet in-laws to do things that make them feel uncomfortable, like putting skin mousse on my animals. These dogs aren't even allowed on the couch here, and they've commandeered. I've gotten a small set of stairs so the dogs can get on the couch. My one-star moment is not releasing these animals to just be grandparents' dogs and being the biggest spoiled dog owner on the planet is my one-star moment. And it's hard for me, but this is the week I've let it go. I've let it go. If they want to have crust in their eyes, let them have crust in their eyes. If they want to eat a whole bag of treats from my father-in-law because he accidentally dumped it out and doesn't feel like picking it up, let them eat a whole bag of treats, okay? These pups are living their best lives. That's what I got.
There's got to be a time limit on how long you can be away from your dogs without legally relinquishing ownership. And I think you're getting close to that, DK. And the real one-star moment from that story to me is that there's a direct correlation in between. When's the last time you gave them a dog walk? 2 months? And look where your weight's going. You were walking 4 miles a day. You're down to 165. Now you're gonna be 200 pounds next month.
Correlation is there. That is some real shit. Part of the ease in my 10,000 steps when I was doing it the last 2.5 years was that dog walk. It's a thing that exists. You fucking nailed it, man.
Get those guys on a first class flight to Portland for those dogs ASAP.
Yeah, they're over 25 pounds because my father-in-law has been feeding them way too many treats. Bless their little hearts. But I'm gonna get them 2 more weeks. I'll get them back here. They'll be back here doing their thing. We just got them sized for some dog jackets last week. So things are happening for these 15-year-old. They're 97-year-old dogs, Rip. Okay? I'm going to spoil the shit out of them. I'm going to keep spoiling the shit out of them. It's what I do. One-star recommendation of the week. This is a game changer. I was going to do it last week. I didn't. I'm doing it this week. We've all been making quesadillas. Our entire lives, we've been making quesadillas, whether for ourselves, for our children. However, we've been making quesadillas. Rip, what kind of cheese have you been using? Have you been using the 3-cheese Mexican blend?
We went away from the shredded cheese. We're using a mild cheddar block, grating that block cheese, shredding it ourselves from Trader Joe's.
All right. You're the perfect guy because you are like me and you are like every other person that's listening to this show right now. Lover of quesadillas, lovers of cheese that doesn't shred because of the chemicals, huh? We want natural cheese, natural things, shredded ourselves, fresh cheese. Here's the things. We're stupid. We are the stupidest ever. The best quesadillas come from Filiberto's, come from Amato's, come from real Mexican restaurants. Our whole life, Rip, we've been going to the grocery store and grabbing the 3-cheese blend or the Tillamook or the Kraft blend or the mild, whatever. We are so stupid. Right next to that cheese the whole time has been the Mexican cheese, the real melting cheese, the real quesadilla cheese that you get at Amato's, the real melting Hispanic cheese. And here it is. My recommendation of the week will change some lives right now. Stop buying the 3-cheese blend. Stop buying the cheddar. Go ahead and just look a little bit closer. And I want you to look for a red bag that's called Supremo Chihuahua cheese. Okay? Supremo Chihuahua cheese. Mexican style Oaxacan cheese made for melting. You can either get it already shredded, or if Rip's worried about the chemicals, you can get it in a round circular block, shred it yourself. It will change your quesadilla game 100%. I've served it in my house now to 3 people, myself, my wife, and the wonderful neighbors downstairs who happened to be walking by. And I said, hey, try this quesadilla. I just did a new cheese, and they tried it and they said 10 out of 10. Mission tortilla, that doesn't change. A little bit of butter, that doesn't change. And then slap in your Supremo Chihuahua cheese and be prepared to have your quesadilla life changed forever. You're welcome.
I'm just going to gloss right over the fact that you just pronounced Chihuahua a couple times. But yeah, that's a good record of the week, man. I think the Mexican restaurants do it best. And if you can recreate that at home, get that Chihuahua, baby.
Chihuahua, Chihuahu. Maybe I'm still saying a little bit of Hawaiian, seeing it as instead of Hispanic, Rip.
That's Chihuahua where I come from.
That's Chihuahua, baby. That's not Chihuahua. That is Chihuahua, bro. That is a Chihuahua, and I just totally massacred that one. God bless this podcast. What's your record of the week for the people?
Mine is we've been losing so many trees in the past week because these fires, probably thousands of trees burned down, and we just planted a new one today, DK. So trying to take it step by step. But the real record of the week there, we actually had it planted by a company called Moon Valley Nurseries, one of the best in the business. I think got locations in California, obviously, Arizona, Florida, Georgia, Nevada, Tennessee, Texas, mostly half the U.S., but it's a little extra money to get these guys to come out and plant it, but this is our 3rd one we've had planted for them. They do a hell of a job, and anything I plant pretty much dies. I've killed 2 avocado trees on my own, and everything they plant for us has been 100% success rate. So record of the week, Moon Valley Nurseries, pay the extra money, have them come plant a tree for you. Everybody plant a tree this month to replace some of those ones that are burning down out here.
Take his masculinity card away from him, folks. Pull it away. But pull mine too, because I too have had third parties plant trees for me. In fact, breaking news, Rip. Breaking news. Our lime tree has sprung its first lime down in Costa Mesa. Guess how long it took for its first lime to spring after planting it? Guess.
That's like 5 years.
3.5 years. Really a commitment, bro. Really a commitment. Our first one came out, though. Now it's going to start. I'm ready to collect a bounty. Allow the booty to fly to me now. Delicious limes we'll be having. If you need any limes down in SoCal, I got you. In 3 to 5 years, possibly, we'll get our big harvest. No joke, though, on those trees. You got to get them started early. That's great advice, Rip, especially if you're doing a little landscaping. You got to think 3 to 5 years in advance. You can't think tomorrow, okay? Next day. It's not like installing a koi pond or a jacuzzi or a jacuzzi. How many people got jacuzzis? Okay, that take 3 to 5 years. Avocado trees. How long those take to spur?
10 years.
10 years for avocado. 10 years for avocado. Tons of water. Hit the music. Rip reacts. Eagles wide receiver A.J. Brown was reading Inner Excellence on the sidelines this weekend during their wild card win. The book rose to #1 on Amazon bestseller list. Of course it does. Of course. Rip, what's another normal everyday item that if used on the sideline of an NFL football game could become a bestseller?
Probably Chihuahua cheese, to be honest. Like if Devontae Smith comes out with a bag of Chihuahua cheese and makes a quesadilla on the sideline in Philadelphia this weekend.
Or what if you just ate a handful like a normal person? Just put it. You get some on the ground right by your fridge. You drop some by your fridge. You don't pick it up. You just leave it there for 3 to 5 weeks, like a normal.
It'll be sold out everywhere next week.
Chihuahua cheese on the sideline. That could get it going. Yeah, like Marshawn Lynch got the Skittles going. Skittles had a huge pump, I'm sure, in sales until they realized those are cancer causing. Parents don't even let their kids have no Skittles no more. Your kids eating Skittles, Rip?
Not since Halloween 2023.
People cut him out of their list, but if Marshawn brought him back, bring it back. Bring him on back, I think besides food on the sidelines, any warming device, I think could get going. If somebody found a new way to keep their head warm, I still see jackets being put on quarterbacks when it's cold out. That's fine. We haven't thought of something better yet. Like a better blanket or something in maybe like something in water?
Guardian cap? Heated Guardian cap?
Heated Guardian cap. Heated. I could have been more prepared for this. I'm not. I thought you'd have a better answer than Chihuahua cheese, but also a quality answer. So I can't go wrong. It's the best cheese that I've had. It's the best cheese on the market right now. Chihuahua. Ohio State head coach Ryan Day earned $500,000 bonus rip for winning the Cotton Bowl. He could double that if he wins the Natty. Would he? We're speaking for Ryan Day, so this is kind of silly, but would he just turn that $1 million check right around and just give it right back if he could have beaten Michigan this year?
I don't think so. I think a national title, no matter what people say, is still worth more than a win against Michigan. Because in the end, they remember the national titles more than they remember the Michigan victories. But how quickly things change in college football, because that guy's lost to Michigan a ton of times, and it won't matter if they win next week.
Won't matter. I'm going to be hitting him up to maybe join my new startup, my new incubator, where we're going to be specializing in updating license plates for 2025. It's going to be a whole collaboration with Apple. Me, Apple, Ryan Day, and Chihuahua is going to be the partnership that's coming along here. Rip, where do you think Mike McCarthy will end up next year?
New Orleans. I don't think they have a great candidate outside of Aaron Glenn. Mike McCarthy, despite all the criticism he gets, has still won 10 games for, I think, the last 5 years in Dallas. So I think New Orleans needs some of that juice. He's still a good football mind. I think he gets that job.
That's it. I can see it in my head. Makes a lot of sense, Rip. Everything makes sense right there. Tomlin is tradable. If they do decide to trade Tomlin, I can see him doing a little New Orleans run as well. Mr. McCarthy, Mr. Mike McCarthy. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if you saw him do a little New York Jets run. One more New York Jets run, Mike McCarthy. We'll see. Time will tell. Lululemon, Rip. Lululemon. Doing well. Raised some more money. It's up about 11 or 12%. They just had their latest brand ambassador, Francis Tiafoe, Australian Open tennis player, American guy, joined their squad as an ambassador. Things are going well. Lululemon, the last time I got some Lululemon stuff, I thought it was shittier quality. So I got a question for you, Rip. You could spend $1,000, but have to spend it in 20 minutes. And you can either go to Lululemon or 7-Eleven. Which place you choosing?
7-Eleven all the way. I didn't fall for that Tom Brady brand ambassador stuff like you did back in 2023. I visited you in Hawaii and you were wearing Lululemon pants for men that made no sense to me back then. They still don't make sense to me. I can spend $1,000 easily in an hour in 7-Eleven. We'll be stocked up for the next 6 months in my pantry. Probably all get cancer, but we'll be stocked up.
I think you'd struggle to get to $1,000. Where are you going for your bulk? Where are you going for your largest amount of 7-Eleven stuff? What part of 7-Eleven?
Well, you're not a beer drinker, but they have a great beer selection at 7-Eleven. That stuff adds up quickly. I could probably throw down $400 just in beer, DK.
True. I would probably grab at least $250 in Haribo, $100 in Three Musketeers.
Beef jerky, baby. Beef jerky.
Beef jerky. $12. Maybe a couple of logs of Zyn. 6 logs of Zyn, and I'll sell those on the streets. I'll clear them out of eggs. Eggs are going for $14.99 right now in the Bay Area. Okay? Get a damn chicken. We'll see you next week, One Stars. Tweaker.
See you next week.